Namaste, everybody. I'm Don. Welcome to Smart Yoga. I'm going to talk about something that's spoken of a lot in yoga. It's one of the basic precepts, concepts, and focuses anyhow, in yoga and of yoga, and it's the breath. It's breathing. And one of the things I just wanted to point out in this video to be aware of is when you're breathing, of course, there are really four parts to breath. There's the inhalation, then the pause, then the exhalation, and then the pause. And even in regular life, for those who don't take yoga and aren't aware of the breath, those four parts still exist. It's kind of the way we can conceptualize the breath. Not everybody takes a pause, or not everybody takes a purposeful pause in between the inhalation and the exhalation, but it's still there even if it's only a tenth of a second. So it's sort of like a roller coaster that goes up and then comes down. It's like there's that weightlessness for that tenth of a second or whatever it is, and then you come down. And that's kind of like, maybe even a good metaphor for breath. But continuity is established when you're mindful of how you are breathing, and it will start in a yoga is the ideal place to learn this, and then you can carry it with you off the mat, such that one of the benefits of having continuous, consistent breathing on the mat, like in through the nose, out through the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose. When you are purposely setting your breath, and your breath is extremely personal, and I don't mean in a bad breath type of way. I mean, when somebody dies, what do we say? They took their last breath. We're so mindful of breath, yet we don't focus on it very much because it happens automatically, happens when we're sleeping. On your mat, when you have consistent breath, consistent breathing, and you take that with you off the mat, what I want to analogize it to is instead of holding your breath, like we tend in balancing postures, we tend to hold our breath because we think it's going to give us better consistency so we can hold our balance. Because there is physical activity when we're breathing in, breathing out. But what happens if you're in a balancing posture for, say, 15 seconds, you're gonna need to gasp for air if you haven't maintained a consistent pattern to your breathing. So that quick inhalation is unsettling to your balance, and it can throw you off. So you want to force yourself to get into a pattern of consistent breathing so that throughout your yoga practice, no matter what you're doing, you're not only mindful of a consistent breath, but it habitualizes so that you may not even need to be thinking about it. And why that's important is because in life off the mat, when you're in there, raising the children and at work and going about your activities, peace has to do with a sense, and so does calmness, of consistency. You don't want these big fluctuations in your mind, these big emotional outbursts, all of which are within your control, much like your breath is. So as you sort of train your mind and your body to become consistent in your breathing on the mat and then off the mat so that there's no difference, it will also begin to train your mind as you set your intention to becoming a more consistent person, whether mentally, emotionally, socially, so that you just start to groove yourself into a better consistency. That is how powerful breath and being mindful of how you are breathing is. It is extraordinarily impactful on life off the mat, but you have to try it to believe it. You've got to try it to experience it. And in many ways, we human beings are the sum of our habits. So if we get in the habit of breathing, that very personal thing. Nobody else can tell me how to breathe. Nobody else can tell you how to breathe. You set that, let's say 4 counts in, pause for 1, 4 counts out, or whatever you're setting during a particular practice. When that breath is challenged, but you fight through it to maintain that pattern, you'll see off the mat that as you set your desires and your intentions to being a calmer, let's say more thoughtful, more patient person, it will start to slowly infuse or insinuate itself into your life, so that eventually you're like, wow, I'm a lot calmer. But the genesis of that, the origin of that, the place to start is with your breath in your yoga practice. So that's why you want to be consistent. It goes, it's not something hokey that we talk about as instructors about focusing on your breath. It really it's a basis off of which, or on which you can operate into other areas of life to become your better self, to become a better version of yourself, the one that you believe more in as you become aware of what you actually believe in. So there you go. That's a bit on breath. I wish you well in your journey. Namaste. I'll see you on another video.